Black bears can sometimes hibernate in the treetops. Say it with me now, wow! Tokelau is a group of islands in the South Pacific Ocean. The place is famous for getting 100% of its electricity from solar energy. The first pirate flags were not black, but red. People dream mostly in pictures. The majority of dreams are visual and have little movement and sound. There's also nothing strange about having bizarre and illogical dreams. The part of your brain that's responsible for making sense shuts down while you're dreaming. Sound travels almost 4 times faster underwater than it does in the air. That's why divers often have problems with figuring out the direction of sounds. When bald eagles screech, they sound so silly that Hollywood has to dub over that sound with a red-tailed hawk's cry. The Empire State Building houses so many businesses that it has its own zip code. It's 10118. The Nishiyama Onsen Koyokan in Japan is the oldest hotel in the world. It's been around since the beginning of the 8th century. Hope they've changed the carpets since then. One of the most typical gifts on Father's Day is a tie. When you cup your hands to scoop some water, you create a Gao pen. It's true. A grizzly polar bear hybrid has several names: the Growler bear, Pizzly bear, Polar Grizz, or Grizzler. One side of your body has more blood vessels than the other. That's why hair and nails on that side get more nutrition and grow faster. The sea level isn't different around the globe because the world's ocean surface isn't flat. It's because of the winds and the difference in gravity, which is influenced by underwater mountains' mass. If our planet was the size of a grain of sand, the sun would be as big as an orange. Ostriches have very elastic tendons. It allows them to run faster, travel longer distances, and spend less energy. It means an ostrich could probably outrun even a horse. Kangaroos that lived 18,000 to 50,000 years ago were the size of a rhino. The largest uninterrupted waterfall on the land surface of our planet, Angel Falls, is as tall as a 300-story building. Scientists have been arguing for ages whether corn is a vegetable or a grain, or probably even a fruit. The name Jessica was first used in its current form by William Shakespeare. Researchers know about almost 400 lakes that lie under the ice in Antarctica. One of them is as big as Lake Ontario, one of the 5 Great Lakes in North America. Many people believe that Arizona's Meteor Crater was given the wrong name. It had to be called Meteorite Crater. That's what meteors that fell on Earth are called. But the place's name is actually connected not with a space object, but with the crater's geographical location. The nearest to the crater post office had the name Meteor. Your left lung is smaller than the right one to leave enough room for your heart. Good thing, too. 97% of people use Google as a spell checker. They type words in the address bar to see if the spelling is correct. Crackers are worse for your dental health than sugar because they stick to your teeth and turn into bacteria breeding grounds. All ants in the world weigh as much as the entire human population of the planet. When toucans fall asleep, they curl into small, compact balls. The first computer mouse, which was invented in 1964, was made of wood. The device was also rectangular and had a small button in its top right corner. Around 3.8 billion years ago, I wasn't around then, Earth cooled down to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The gas in the atmosphere condensed into rain, which filled the basins that are now oceans and seas. The first 3D movie was shown in Los Angeles in 1922. You may start laughing after you sneeze several times in a row, because sneezing makes people happy. When you sneeze, your body releases endorphins, hormones responsible for dealing with stress. The underground Cave of the Crystals in Mexico is filled with giant crystals, hence the name. Some of them are the size of a school bus. Unfortunately, you can't get to this place nowadays, but when the cave was still accessible, people could only stay there for 10 minutes at the most. It was extremely hot inside, up to 136 degrees Fahrenheit, and the humidity reached 90 to 99%. There's a device that can put out a fire with the help of sound waves. There could be takeout restaurants in Pompeii. Archaeologists have found some evidence that might prove this fact. Processed cheese, also known as American cheese, was actually created in Switzerland in the 1910s. Your brain is getting cleaned while you're sleeping. Special fluid flushes through it and washes away toxins and harmful proteins that build up there during the day. The only mammal that can fly is the bat. And even if it seems that flying squirrels do it as well, it's just an illusion. They simply glide through the air, even though the distance they cover can reach 300 feet. Australia has more than 10,000 beaches. If you visited a new beach every day, it would take you more than 27 years. Now, even though frogs and salamanders do have lungs, they mostly breathe through their skin. The very first members of the horse family, living about 50 million years ago, were the size of a dog. Most horses also remained small forest browsers for almost half of their history. Green eyes are found only in 2% of the population, and they're more common in women than in men. The first watermelons were either bitter or bland. They were originally cultivated in Africa for their water content. Cocoa beans were used as currency among ancient civilizations of South America and Mexico. And chocolate was only a drink at that time. It was a bitter liquid sprinkled with spices or mixed with corn puree. Blech. When you blush, your stomach's lining becomes red as well. Trust me. It takes water 1,000 years to complete a continuous journey around the world. The whole process is known as the global ocean conveyor belt. When potatoes are fresh, they contain 80% of liquid. It means they're just 15% behind celery and cucumbers. And if you want, you can easily juice a potato. Cats can't taste sugar. They don't have the necessary receptors. The tallest rose bush ever was grown in California. It got to the Guinness World Records after its height reached 18 feet 8 inches. That's as tall as a giraffe. Sharks can have up to 30,000 teeth throughout their lifetime, and as many as 3,000 at any given time. These teeth grow in multiple rows and are embedded in the animal's gums rather than their jaws. Blood makes around 1,000 loops around your body in just one day. Stubbs the cat was the mayor of Talkeetna in Alaska for 20 years. The feline was visited by 30 to 40 tourists a day and received tons of letters and cards. Some people are better at knowing everything than others because they have super effectively wired brains. The connections between their brain cells are shorter and stronger. The slow worm moves and looks like a snake, but it's actually a legless lizard. Melanism is the opposite of albinism. Melanistic animals have too much black pigment in their skin, feathers, or hair. That's why, unlike their light-colored mates, they look dark, almost black. The Earth's core is about 1% gold, and it sounds not that impressive. But if you deposited all that gold on the planet's land surface, it would cover the ground up to your knees. It's impossible to hum while holding your nose. You hum by moving air through your nasal passages. Try to do it now. You'll feel some buzzing there. But when you close both your mouth and your nose, the air can't escape, and there's no humming sound. Researchers think that once, the whole face of the Great Sphinx of Giza was painted red. Venus spins backward compared to the Sun and most other planets in the solar system. One of the explanations astronomers have come up with is a collision with some solid object, for example, an asteroid. Elephants have super thick skin on some parts of their bodies. For example, on their backs and the tops of their heads, it can be up to 1 inch thick. Hearing is your fastest sense. Your brain needs fractions of a second to recognize a sound. Carrots used to be purple in the past, with some yellow ones among them. Then people figured out that yellow carrots tasted better. Purple ones were slightly bitter. Even though penguins don't have visible ears, their hearing is exceptional. Each of your taste buds consists of up to 100 cells that analyze taste information. Strawberries aren't actually berries. True berries have their seeds inside, and strawberries don't fit this definition. But then it gets kinda chaotic. Based on this classification, oranges, kiwis, watermelons, and bananas all turn out to be berries. All Scandinavian countries have a cross on their flags. When watermelons are baked or grilled, they lose their watery granular texture and become tough. There's even a recipe called watermelon steak. It makes watermelons taste like meat. Jupiter's moon Io is covered with hundreds of volcanoes and is the most volcanically active object in the solar system. The moon also looks blotted and has a weird yellowish surface. A two-story house made entirely out of Lego was once built in England. About 3.3 million small bricks were used during the construction. 3% of the world population has an inborn inability to recognize the voices of people they know. This phenomenon is called phonagnosia. Sea cucumbers may look like real veggies, but these creatures do know how to protect themselves. When they feel they're in danger, the animals eject their internal organs and then regrow them again within a month and a half. You guessed it, they spill their guts. Camels are associated with Africa and the Middle East, but these animals actually originated in North America. If you lump together all the known asteroids in the solar system, their total weight would be smaller than 10% of the Moon's mass. Tigers not only have striped fur, their skin is striped too. These stripes are like human fingerprints. No two tigers have an identical pattern. Many animal species that live at the very bottom of the ocean can glow in the dark. They do it by triggering special chemical reactions in their bodies. Dextrophobia is the fear of objects that are on the right side of the body. It also sometimes refers to the fear of right-handedness. After solving a problem, cows get excited. They start to move more and have an increased heart rate. Maybe they should go to school. The largest sand image in the world is as big as 12 Olympic-sized swimming pools and can be seen from space. It was created in 2019 in Dubai. It took the artists more than 2,400 hours to finish their work. Dogs are as smart as the average 2-year-old and can recognize and understand about 160 words. When you breathe through your nose, one nostril always inhales more air than the other. They swap over every 15 minutes or so. It's also believed that when you breathe through your right nostril, you get more oxygen than while doing it through the left one. White isn't the only color for cauliflower. Even though this hue is the most common, the vegetable has orange, purple, and green varieties. The ocean stores 50 times more carbon than the atmosphere. Avocados can't ripen on trees, and if you want to make some guacamole, you have to pluck the fruit first. Your teeth are the only part of your body that can't repair itself, but the enamel they're covered with is one of the hardest things in the human body. You keep in memory more faces than you can imagine, up to 10,000. It varies from person to person, but the average number is 5,000 faces. You can see 4 states from the top of Willis Tower in Chicago on a clear day. They're Illinois, obviously, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Indiana. Spiders might have more legs than they need. Scientists have found out that spiders with 1 or 2 missing legs build exactly the same webs as those with all legs intact. Owls have huge eyes. They usually account for 3% of their entire body weight. For comparison, in humans, this number is a mere 0.0003%. Owls also have 3 eyelids. One is for blinking, the second is for sleeping, and the third eyelid protects the bird's eyes from injuries while they're flying. Corn cobs almost always have an even number of rows, most commonly 16. If you feel your phone's vibrating when it actually isn't, you have phantom vibration syndrome. Scientists think it can be a sign that a person's too involved with their gadget. You think? The largest collection of comic books includes almost 102,000 unique items. My collection under my bed was not nearly that big. Uranus is the only planet in the solar system that rotates on its side. It might be because of an ancient mega-powerful collision, but it's just a theory. Gas giant Jupiter is the planet with the shortest day in the solar system. It lasts just 9 hours and 55 minutes. Birds are immune to the burn of chili peppers. The human brain can't concentrate on two things at once, but it can switch between several tasks really fast. On the downside, it decreases your attention span and harms your short-term memory and the ability to learn. Corals wear natural sunscreen. It helps them survive in the sun. The most vivid dreams happen during REM, which stands for Rapid Eye Movement Sleep. This stage doesn't last long and happens 90 to 120 minutes apart throughout the night. During REM sleep, most of the involuntary muscles in your body get paralyzed so that you don't harm yourself while acting out a dream. This doesn't happen with my dog, though. He even barks in his sleep. At the beginning of the 16th century, the word computer referred to a person who carried out calculations. Oranges weren't called this way for their color. It's the color orange that was named after the juicy fruit. The atmospheric pressure on Venus is 92 times greater than that on Earth. So if you were standing on its surface, you would feel the same as at a depth of 3,000 feet underwater on our planet. Yes, Venus would have a real crush on you. There are underwater lakes and rivers in the oceans. They're known as brine pools. The water in them is saltier and denser than the rest of the water in the area. Brine pools have shorelines and sometimes even waves. Vermont is a small town in Canada. It's designed in such a way that its residents don't have to go outside during freezing 7-month-long winters. Houses, restaurants, stores, supermarkets, schools, and other buildings are all interconnected. Coffee beans help to get rid of bad breath. They prevent the bacteria that cause the unpleasant smell from building up in the mouth. Wireless signals are illegal in a small town of Green Bank in West Virginia. It means no cell phones, no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, no electronic transmitters whatsoever. The town houses the Green Bank Telescope, the world's largest fully steerable radio telescope. Any kind of wireless signal can mess up its work. Mercury has wrinkles. When its iron core was cooling, the planet's crust contracted. It made the surface of the planet uneven. Each dog's nose has its own unique pattern. You can identify dogs by their nose prints, just like fingerprints are used to identify people. If you sing or play some music for a turkey, it's likely to sing along. 70% of the oxygen people breathe is produced by the oceans. Before Google was officially launched in 1998, it was called Backrub. Dentistry is likely to date back to 7000 BCE. At that time, people believed that tooth decay was caused by tooth worms. The flounder fish has outstanding camouflage skills. It can hide even on a checkerboard. Earth-grazing fireballs are bright meteors that enter the Earth's atmosphere but then leave it again. There are waterfalls in the ocean. They are created by the differences in water temperature. That's when colder and denser water flows down and underneath warmer and lighter layers. The largest known waterfall on Earth lies between Iceland and Greenland. This giant is 11,500 feet tall. Stars look as if they're twinkling because of the disturbance in the Earth's atmosphere. It deflects the light from stars that reaches your eyes and makes it shake. Dreams you see in the morning hours last longer. While typing a web address in a browser on your iPhone, hold down the full stop icon. It'll bring up a shortcut series of website suffixes, from the most common ones like .com or .net to the less used. It may seem that some ducks like surfing. They've been seen riding a wave and then swimming back to ride another one. In reality, it's their way of catching crabs. The most expensive cheese in the world is made in Serbia. It's called pul. It's cheese made from donkey milk, which is apparently really hard to pull off. The cost of this product can reach $600 per pound, and you can only buy it in Serbia from one producer. The Hubble Space Telescope weighs almost as much as 2 male African elephants and is as long as a big school bus. It's made almost 1.5 million observations since it was launched in 1990. The fattest organ in your body is your brain. Fat makes up at least 60% of its dry weight. It even got the brain to the Guinness World Records. Well, that's it for now. Donkey milk cheese, anyone?